how's it going out there, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Cash. Welcome to the channel. This is Weekly Recap. Let's talk about it. I go over my week of operating this semi-truck in America. Every week, basically, I tell you the loads I do, why I did them. I'm leased to an 80-20 split carrier. I don't talk about the carrier or the details of that. You'll have to figure that out for yourself. I run a fuel-efficient operation because that's where the profit is at in trucking, if you ask me. And let's get on with it now. Let's get into it. I did an out and back. This is a pretty normal week for me. I like to go out, I like to come back. I like to get my home time. I like to rinse and repeat. I like to make trucking not as hard as I have in the past. So I've tried to figure some things out. I always say you can have 20 years of experience or you can have 1 year of experience 20 times. And that means try to learn something as the years go by. Don't just keep repeating the mistakes. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, let's get into it. So, I grabbed a frozen food load out of Minnesota out to Virginia. That load paid $3,700. That load is taking a hit here lately on what they're willing to pay to move that. It's still okay to me. It's still like $3 a mile. So, we're still moving it, but yeah, to go into that area, I really rather be getting a little more. But in the current market, we take what we get and we learn to operate in the current market. That's the key to being successful and moving forward with your business is learning to adapt. And if you can't adapt, you will, wither away in business. It's just the facts of it. You don't see many Pontiacs on the road anymore, do you? Just saying. But anyway, frozen food load, -10 degrees, 42,000 pounds. That's 88 empty miles, 1201 on the loaded miles, 1289 total miles. We take that out for $3,700 American. And then I grab a load. I come up, I grab a load out of Maryland back to Minnesota. 28 degrees, 8,000 pounds, 54 empty miles, 1135 on the loaded miles. 1189 total miles on that, and that load's paying $2,800 American. So we bring that back. And then this is a 5-day week. It's 2 days out, kind of a day, a little middle day there of getting positioned up into Maryland, and then getting the next load, and it's 2 days hightailing back to Minnesota. So it's like a 5-day run. I count it 5 days. I think it bleeds over into the 6th day, but I'm usually unloaded by like 5 or 6, maybe 8 in the morning at the latest, and then I'm at the house by like 9, 10 o'clock. So I count that as a day off, when I'm at the house all day like that. And so I count this as a 5-day work week. It's a good week for me. It's 6,500 gross revenues, which ain't bad in this market. Ain't bad. My new goal is like 6,000 a week. I wanted to be more like 7, but with markets the way they are, I can live with 6 right now. Everybody that's going to say, well, it's because you accept less is why the market's going down. I can tell you, don't worry about what I do. Okay? No, I'm just kidding. No, I can tell you, I don't set the market rates. Okay? The market sets the rate. There's too much other things around me for me to set the rate. If you want to say, I want to make this much per day, I want to make this much per hour, I want to make this much per minute, I want to make this much per whatever. To me, it's kind of like you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. It's kind of like me saying 6,000 a week. I kind of feel like I might be setting myself up for failure because there's going to be weeks where I can't make 6,500 in a week. And so, but that's kind of my realistic goal. You got to have some sort of goal. So I guess that's mine. 6,500 a week for total gross revenue. My 80% is going to be $5,200 of the 80% that I get to keep. And most of this is reefer freight. Sorry if I didn't say that, but yeah, it's mostly reefer freight. 2,478 all miles, 142 of that was empty miles, 2336 on the loaded miles of this. That's about a 5 to 6% deadhead, so it's a pretty tight week. Let's talk about per mile rates. $2.62 every mile the truck turns is good for me. 80% of that is $2.10 a mile, and loaded was $2.78 per loaded mile, to give you an idea what the market's doing. And now we come over here, let's talk about my veritable expenses. So I've spent $1,079 on diesel. Diesel. I need diesel. We spent $1,079 on diesel, $133 on reefer fuel, $45 on DEF fluid. I spent $25 on parking, and the big one, I spent $459 in tolls. Oh lordy, that's the price I pay though. There's not enough time in that load to run I-80, and number one, going out there, going to Virginia, taking 80 into Virginia for Minnesota is a little bit of a stretch, and on the way back out of Maryland, it's a little bit of a stretch as well. So we just do what we have to do. We pay them tolls, and I pay with a transponder, and it is what it is. It's just what I have to do. Pay them tolls. So that makes the total variable $1,741, 1741 on variable expenses. We bring over my 5,200, and we're going to say 5,200 minus the variable cost, $1,741, leaves me $3,459 minus $500 on the maintenance account, which leaves $2,909 on left to do what I have to do with. And that's the week, guys. 44 cents per mile fuel cost. Overall, I'm digging it. Fuel economy is just the saving grace of this operation right now. I can't imagine you guys that are paying like, $2,000 a week in fuel. Like, it's got to burn. It's got to burn because that leaves like $1,900, after all expenses versus 2,900. That's a huge difference to me. 44 cents a mile is okay. I can live with it. I've been buying most of my fuel on Mudflap. If you're not aware of Mudflap, there's links down there. Go check it out. It's an app. I buy my fuel through it. A lot of Illinois fuel. So hopefully, I'm getting good deals there. So come IFTA time, I won't be owing money on IFTA either, and I'm getting good fuel cost. That always helps. I throw my Hotshot in there. My partner's here, Hotshot. I put that in the tank to help me get better fuel economy, and that's how I do it. I slow down when I can. Now that load back, that is a 2-day run on 1,200 miles. So we truck that. It's very rare I can slow roll that, especially sometimes I try to go around the Indiana toll. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. Just depends on time. And kind of traffic factors into that too. The load out was a Friday to Monday run. So that makes things a little different. You know, it's okay. It's okay when I do it that way, but a lot of times those loads I do through the week and they're 2-day runs, but that was a 3 one. So I really actually should count this as a 6-day week, even though one day was basically just getting loaded and, but it still worked. So I'm going to count this as a 6-day week. I changed my mind. 6-day week because I forgot that was a weekend one, and a weekend one on those to me is 3 days. So just to clarify all that. And that's where we're at right now, guys. Just we're trying to stay in the game at this point. You just got to do what you got to do. This is not good trucking. This is regular trucking. This is how it always has been. So if you guys just got into this year or two ago, just know this is the normal versus what you got into a year or two ago. That was not the normal. This is the normal. The having to run an efficient business to make real good profits. That's the way it is. That's the way it always has been, except for a few brief periods in trucking. Other than that, you've had to be efficient and you've had to know what you were doing to make profit. Okay. So if you're not making good profit, don't ever let like a bad business ruin you. You know what I mean? If you can't make it right now, get out of it. Get out of it. If it's burying you, no shame and moving right along, in my opinion. I just want to put that out there because I know a lot of people say, "Well, I'm just a company driver." Well, there's nothing wrong with ever being a company driver. Like to me, there's no shame in that. It's where you need to be if that's where you need to be. But that's it for the week, guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate everybody watching. Be sure to smash that like button for me if you're not a subscriber and you want more of this kind of content. Click on it down there. It's free. You get all you can out of it. Come join me for a live show. I much appreciate that. Everybody coming by and hanging out with me when I'm bored doing live shows. And take care of each other out there. Remember, people are more important than trucking.